Let us discuss about the 13th October 2015 newspaper. So here, let us talk about the today's major news. That is about a smearing of ink by Sena activists over Sudhir Kulkarni on the launch of Kasauri's book, that is Neither a Hawk Nor a Dove. Now there are few important questions over here. These particular actions of intolerance and also force as a means to dissuade people from doing what they like. This shows growing irresponsible behavior among the political sections in India. The second thing is, especially with regard to the right-wing establishments, they claim themselves to be the representatives and voice of a section of the people. And this section itself claims to be the representative of all the Maharashtra power. In this context, how these institutions shall be made accountable, political parties shall be made accountable. And the second thing is, do we have the legal framework to deal with these systems? Is this the time now to strengthen our electoral laws to avoid such a situation in the country? Already the corruption, in reference to the corruption, yes, the electoral laws are very much strong now. Now, why can't we bring in the strong electoral laws that can take away the teeth of these people that are spreading the intolerance and communal hatred and also damaging the image of India abroad? For example, a person of the stature of Mr. Sudhir Kulkarni, who has worked as an aide, media advisor to the Prime Minister Vajpayee, is the state plight is this, then what about the common man? So in this context, many of us shall worry about the image of India, how it is going to be taken in various liberal Western world. And the next is about capital punishment. Though this article talks about the different modes of capital punishments and the difficulties in taking forward these punishments and various cases in the United States of America, let us take a discussion. In India, does the capital punishment exist or not? Because the Law Commission has recently suggested that the death penalty shall be favored only in the case of the terrorism, not in all the other cases. In this context, if you observe, what are the factors that lead to the abolition of the death penalty? One thing is miscarriage of the justice. Now, if you observe in India, at the trial court level, more than 95% cases of the death penalty, there is a miscarriage of justice. Even in the Supreme Court, it is around 23%. So this is the gravest crime against humanity. Now, the most of the people say the laws have to be tough to show the deterrence for not committing these crimes. Now, if it is the case, then in the countries that have the death penalty, the punishments or else the crime has to decrease. So there is an empirical proof that tougher the punishments, greater will be the deterrence. More than the toughness of the punishment, the certainty of the punishment matters the most. And the next factor is, it is not in line with the global trend. As for the Amnesty International, more than 140 countries, that is 2/3 of the world nations, they moved away from the death penalty. And another thing is, the death penalty, it is deviating our attention away from the reforms of the criminal justice system and restorative and redistributive justice. For example, the criminal justice system, police reforms, etc., they need higher attention. The politics of the day, to prove them to be the tougher masters, they are resorting more to the death penalty rather than reforming the criminal justice system as a whole. And next is, the death penalty can be seen as a revenge, which itself masking as a justice. If we want to build a society based on peace, can the state committing a murder of its people, can it be allowed? It is an ethical question over here. On the other side, the victim's right to have justice, it makes the death penalty to take on to, or else to move on to further. Other than that, most of the arguments which are existing, they favor or they go against the death penalty. Now, the next is the path to economic recovery. Now, you know that one way the revenues of the government are increasing and expenditures are decreasing. especially the government, it wants to take a strong fiscal consolidation path. So it is moving away from the subsidized regime, which is a positive step. So in this context, this year also government has taken a step to maintain the fiscal deficit at 3.9% over the estimated 3.6%. In all possibility, it appears that the government will achieve this. Now, with inflation now under 4% and interest rate cuts in the past 12 months, so it means that the growth is about to be revived and the markets also going to strengthen, which can improve the production. So in this context, you can expect the better performance of the government and markets on the fiscal deficit front in coming season. So this is what is the tightrope to walk. And on the macroeconomic side, India appears to be all-time favorable now. Next is Article 370. It's always controversy. Now we have to discuss about the evolution of the Article 370 over here. Now, when Article 370 was introduced, Nehru was very clear that it has to be the important link between the Kashmir Valley and India. On the other hand, many people perceived the Article 370 as a transient article which can be removed at a later date. So if you take the special status given to Jammu and Kashmir, it also makes our federation asymmetrical. So in this context, the rightist government at the center, it always recommended, supported for the removal of the Article 370. And Article 370, though people say it's an area of confrontation between Nehru and Patel, Hindu in frontline it has clearly said that Mr. Patel has negotiated in terms of Nehru with Mr. Sheikh Abdullah on Article 370 and position. So it means based on those circumstances, Article 370 was well planned and laid into our constitution. Now, the Jammu and Kashmir High Court declared the Article 370 as permanent. So the center trying to look into this matter, which brings the Article 370 further on to the front. Now, try to go through the provisions of the Article 370, which can be a question for our prelims. And the next is the noble economy. Sorry, the noble for the economy. So you know that Mr. Dayton, he also worked with Indian economists such as Jean Rhys. He is one of the famous developmental economists from England. So according to him, understanding of the consumption patterns of the society are very much important to study the incidence of the poverty. And he said in India, if you take the growth and poverty are compared, the growth increase is not visible with regard to the poverty reduction. According to me, it is due to the different ways we collect the data. And he also provided that across the world, so there is no parity between various indices that are reflecting the poverty and also development. And his major area of the study is that towards improving the access, equity and quality of the services to the poor to improvise the so-called as benefits or welfare to them. And next is the Malabar drills. So the Malabar drills between US, India and Japanese Navy. So previously China showed strong condemnation to it. Actually Australia was also interested to join into them, but however India did not encourage them. As a counter to this, India is also conducting the drills with the Chinese Navy. These are the various important articles. Other than that, there are no good articles today. So try to work on the capital punishment. I am also attaching the notes of the capital punishment along with this particular article. Right. Thank you very much.